discussion on the SLA measurement itself, we can do that as well. But let's start together, because this is the point where we can sit together and speak about it.
Yes, but in a right order. So on one hand, of course, the management summary and the documentation need to be accurate. And if we really clear and kindly state and request that this is not a highlight, it's still not a highlight, even if there is some progress in the, how to say, in the daily work. But we can, at the end of the call, go into the details, but at this point of time, please make a note and correct the slides you will share after the meeting, that it is really also considered. If it is not a highlight and it's not mostly green, that it's also removed. It's also part of the cooperation. If something is not shared by Uniper, it does not mean that it will help to, again, exchange the, how to say, the arguments. Of course, we can do at the end of the day, but here it's also key to document it in a way it is fine for both parties. And if we have a look about the future, again, also regarding just one small comment on the gray part, SLA is either green or not green, either it is met or not met. If there are some ambiguity, it should be aligned before. But to have some negotiation about the color is not really fit for purpose. I understand that it's not a negotiation, it's an alignment, it's a clarification, but anyway, this needs to be done before. Just as an entry point, it would be great, as mentioned, we will have a look about it again, and please take it as a note to remove the first point. Thanks.
Okay, if Tom has no specific comments on that overview, shall we continue with the management summary?
Simeon, there's one question from my side. Was that first highlight just reflecting that the service has improved slightly and it's stabilized, it's not getting worse? Was that the meaning of that, mostly green, or was
Mostly
it really just
green,
linked to?
entirely related to SLA performance. And all these comments, initially green, this is entirely related to SLA performance, because I'm here presenting SLA overview, and I'm presenting the services from an SLA standpoint. Although, of course, we can admit that sometimes the SLAs are not fully reflecting the reality, and there might be difference in the perception of the services, but this is entirely dedicated to the SLA's part.
Okay.
So this is the, yeah. Okay, shall we continue with M365, or I will keep it for the dedicated slides?
We are fine with this slide, except as mentioned, the topic exclusion, things like this needs to be discussed in a separate, but okay, let's go through the presentation, please.
Okay. So just a brief comment, because we keep it here in the focus area, and it's again for backup, M365 backup services. What I know and what we are discussing with Tom and Martin, the restoration throughput SLA is something that is still under discussion and to be decided. Some details are being provided during the service review with Igor. So in case we consider that this is something that requires separate meeting, we can of course handle it separately on that topic. Just a brief update from what I know. Okay, action items, nothing particular that is captured here as an action item overall. So we will move to the overview per service. For recipe,
having a look about participants, I see Dan, I see Igor, so I'm not sure how who else is here from the service owner from Uniper, so potentially we can focus on this area.
Let me see, because when I'm present, I'm not really sure who's in already. I see Daniel. And do we have anyone else I'm missing? I don't think so. So maybe just hosting an info part then.
potentially it would be great to focus on these two areas, please.
Okay. Sorry. So, for hosting in infra, here we have the performance for June, where as I explained in email, we have here only the volumes of SLAs and exception exclusions corrections applied, so we are not showing the volume of incidents in the current overview of the presentation. So for this month, we didn't have any specific exceptions, exclusions, or corrections applied to the listed SLAs. We just kept him here for historical purposes, because we had some exceptions and exclusions for the past months for severity, for incident response, resolution, and reopen of incidents.
There has been one question. I raised one question. There are these monthly reports for hosting and infra where an incident resolution has been reported, and here in this overview there is none. So does it mean which data is now the most accurate one?
That is what I'm saying. Here we are not showing the volume of incidents per SLA. We are showing only how many exceptions, exclusions, or corrections we have applied. So 0, 0, 0. These 3 zeros means that we didn't apply.
Okay, great. Okay. Now I understand the point that that the last time it has been mostly so in May there has been 22 or 25 incidents, and 22 has been excused, and that's why you show it here.
Yes, exactly, because these were not relevant and were wrongly triggered and appeared in the performance. But yeah, if we don't have any exceptions, exclusions, or corrections, it will be 3 zeros. Okay. There are no specific service levels to be discussed or any for which we have raised issues outside of the guide. So I will move forward with DAO service. So as you can see, for DAO we didn't apply any exceptions, exclusions, corrections, so that's why we don't have any rule for the SLAs, and this is valid for the past 6 months and even more behind that. We didn't apply any exceptions, exclusions, or corrections, so the 9 SLAs in scope are initially green in that area. There are no specific service levels to be discussed and no exclusion request raised throughout the month that had to be aligned with Juniper. For the managed file service in Azure, we have one SLA measuring the availability, initially green, and no specific exception, exclusions, or corrections regarding that. And no specific service levels to be discussed. This is the overview in the hosting infra area from an SLA standpoint, as I said. Anything from you, Daniel?
No.
Okay. I believe it was the only service owner apart from Igor that is available today, so if I'm not skipping anyone, then let me go to the M365 topic, if we are not interested in the others. So, here, maybe let me go directly to the slide of the backup success rate.
Please go back. As mentioned, really, if we have a lot, and really, it's a lot of efforts also on our side. And we already explained, of course, first you deliver the service, you provide the reporting, you provide the assessment. And if we, in addition, provide you some explanation where we are coming from, and of course, the SLA is to be measured in accordance to the definition of the contract, and either it is met or not met. And if we really kindly ask to make clear that here we do not have some further ambiguity, and ask to update the SLA up to red, then it would be, of course, really key that it is considered. So I'm not sure why this is not considered so far with all the explanation which has been given. Do we need an escalation call? Who do we need in order to get it considered? So what are the next steps in order we get it?
I'm sorry, Marie, but this is a this is a call where we are discussing, and this is a pre-slide, and it will never be left like this as a final deck. So this is why we are gathered here, and I would assume it will be best if we go into the discussion and not keep on talking about colors.
Well, it's not about colors, it's about the fact to recognize is the SLA met. And
we are recognizing, and this will not be left like this after the discussion.
Yes, we
when
just
we
want
have
to give the opportunity to our people, our representatives for the service, to share their view. Because, as I said, we didn't have much time in advance to align on this, and this is where we can meet together and sit and align. We totally consider all the feedback that is provided. We are not neglecting it, we are not rejecting it. You see that the initial result is in red. We are just following this, the process that we have agreed in updating this presentation. Once we are done with the service level review, and we hear Igor and Tom says, okay, I'm fine with this view and we have these steps and these steps, we will provide an updated SLMR presentation with the agreement. Reason for having it in gray is that we want to have both sides view during the call.
Not the right order to say if the XA is fine or not. It's also, is it in particular, does Uniper perceive the service in the agreed quality or not? It's rather the way around that Uniper needs to be fine with, and of course, hopefully, I'm not sure how difficult the mail or the content of the mails is, but I would not expect a deep discussion necessary in this round. And potentially we can also, thanks a lot Dan for your presence, but potentially as it is no longer related to your area, potentially, you can of course stay in the call, but potentially, thanks a lot, Dan. Thanks a lot. So, what is the current status? We already provided some explanation. What is the next steps? What is not here?
Let me summarize again, Marie, and I hope I'm clear that I'm not trying to make myself difficult for you. So, we have a red result. It is red. At the moment, it's red. The reason for keeping the one in gray, as I said, it's just we are having this meeting and we didn't have the opportunity to make another discussion before the meeting. This is how we would report on each and every SLA where we have been having a pending discussion on the SLA. I consider it pending just because we didn't have the opportunity to also get a comment from our service representatives. I understand the perception of Uniper on that particular service. I am aware of the challenges in that area. I'm not trying to make it more challenging, just to share where we are today, what Tom maybe agreed with you or discussed that we might not be aware at the SLA level, because we have not always been included in these discussions, then just close the topic for the month. And we will have the clear view after the service level review. We are not rejecting Uniper view, we are not neglecting Uniper view, we understand the perception of the service from Uniper's standpoint. It's just, let's keep it at the administrative level to have this. And that's why I have invited Tom here, so Tom, yeah.
Yeah, I would just add, so I'm standing in for Martin, who's the proxy service owner, so I'm not part of the operations team. But I am aware that Martin has been in communication with yourself, Igor, and the rest of the team around some of these issues. So my understanding is they're still open, there's still some follow-up discussion to be had, so that would be my understanding why it's kind of marked grey and ambiguous. We still need it to be resolved. So Igor, happy to get your point of view on this, but from what I see in the email trails, this is definitely being progressed. But we don't have all the people with all the detailed knowledge here on the call to go into the detail level.
Yeah, but there is no, officially it could be just green or red. Yeah, so nothing gray. I don't know what is the status gray. But let's just assume we will mark this square green. So that would mean, for me, that we are completely fine and happy with the service provided in the M365 backend. Yeah, and this is the completely different situation that we are currently facing. So, and that would mean for me just purely greenwashing of the service then. Yeah.
Okay, so the question here is...
I have not commented before, but we already had the discussion when I joined this meeting. I'm really wondering about the number of exclusion and exceptions. So normally you define SLA to be sure that the right quality of service is delivered, independently who caused the defect or not, but you want to see what goes wrong in order to get the chance to have the opportunity to improve the service to the degree and the quality which is requested to deliver the business. So, and that's why it won't help to just put again exclusion on it and to put it in green as proposed. As mentioned, we already had an internal management meeting on yesterday, and there is a clear understanding that this is not green. It's definitely red. So even we have not the right people on the call today, it won't change the situation that the performance and the SLA measurement cannot be green based on what has been in green in the contract. So this is fact. And it won't help to use the exclusion to make things gray or green. This is not what, how to say, will resolve the issues currently. And that's why, please take it again, we will also put some note again, and it's not about the negotiation of SLA, it's about recognize, is the service delivered in the agreed or required quality, yes or no? In case it isn't, then of course both work on it to remediate it. So that's what the case is. And this is nothing, this is not a burden, it's a fact, right? But it won't help to just take it and to say, okay, we'll put some exceptions and it's green, and so all parties go there and say, oh, but we are working on a good way, No, that's not the case. We are still not there.
So just for my benefit, if I may, so are we referring just to the backup success SLA or all the SLAs?
We are talking here now especially on the M365, but it also affects the other ones. It won't help to just put, but we now focus first on this M365.
Yeah, I get that, but are you referring to a specific SLA or all the SLAs? So this where we need to set, where the request is to set it red, are you referring to a specific SLA or across the board for this service?
We have a number of SLA defined, and the expectation is, of course, that all defined SLA are measured in a proper way and are reported in a proper way. That's the expectation to the meeting. And we have not only one SLA, we have several SLA.
So I leave it. Is the issue that you have across every SLA for this service or just one of them, the backup success rate? I'm just trying to understand that. Because I see the backup success rate is the grey one, I believe. This is the one I'm understanding you're saying should be red. Is my understanding correct there?
But anyway, it's about any SLA. The objective is to have any SLA grade, independently from the number. Now we are talking about this one. I'm not sure what about the others are. Why the others are not.
Yeah.
So you expect those service levels here to be red, but in reality we have some mechanism that is these SLAs are built upon, and these are figures that are being calculated based on these mechanisms, and these are the results that are popping up. Fortunately, as I said, the SLAs are not always that sensitive enough to get the perception of the service owner of a good or bad service, or green or red service. And we have seen also that in the past. So here from this perspective, if we may focus on June performance specifically, if I understand well, then the exclusions that were initially approved are not considered as approved, and this is something that we can report as a red result result in line with the expectation on Unisport side to see the red result. Of course, if just don't let me know if you'd like anything further to be discussed here, but we just get it.
But again, I only see exclusions for the backup success rate SLA.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
But this is the issue, and we do not ask, and this is what we discuss currently, right?
Okay. So again, my understanding is there are questions about the backup success rate. We have it grey at the moment. You prefer it to be red, so we can make that red. But all the other SLAs remain green as is. Is that what I'm hearing or understanding correctly?
If we would see what all about other SLAs are all about, so because we just see the count. Do I see 14 SLAs here in the list? I don't see them. Yeah.
Do we have
So do you have a review with Martin on the detail behind each of the SLAs in the month, Igor? So maybe an action to kind of understand more clearly how they're calculated would help.
Yeah, that is my next suggestion, to have a separate meeting on the backup success rate specifically, but also on the other SLAs and whatever is under question that we discuss it and that all parties are aware. My understanding was that this is going through the service reviews, but if this is not done by now, we can do it. We can take it. Yes.
So let's capture that action. We need to assign it to Martin, who's the proxy service owner. He should own that. And he should schedule some time with Igor to kind of go through the detail. And Moni, you and I, we can support them if needed, but I think they have all the detail and the knowledge.
Of course, and reports are already available in Unifor reporting SharePoint. I'm not sure if project is sending them additionally internally.
Yeah. And Igor, I know I've been involved in some of the discussions with you over the past few months where we have been open and transparent about how we calculate some of these SLAs. So we can review that again and show you the data.
I know how you calculate, but this would gives a wrong picture or wrong reflection of the service status. Yeah. So because that's just only a backup job that finishes in 2 weeks successfully. Still, I can't consider this as a successful because I don't need this job in 2 weeks. It should start and complete within the scheduled time window. And if it does not meet this requirements, can't be considered as a successful. And that is really wrong.
And I think this is why the backup success rate probably will be red. That is the case. But all the other SLAs I'm hearing are okay. But let's not go through it in detail now. Let's take that action and review it with yourselves. But I'm with you. I mean, if we are not meeting your expectations according to the backup success rate from a business perspective and the way the SLA is defined, then of course it should be red. But we will review that with Martin outside this call.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I'm not in the loop. It's been a while since I've been in the loop around the details around these. But I do know for a lot of the other SLAs, we were in agreement how they're measured and the data and the rating. So, but we can review that in the session if there are some changes there or some concerns. Happy to do that.
Yes, and maybe it also be good if we have Evgeny, who is on a more technical level and much aware that in the probabilities of what can be done with the reports and so that it is further fine-tuned and improved to show a better view. Because I believe this is one of the reasons for seeing a backup success rate that is not matching the expectations, because ideally the sites in this calculation, ideally the sites, if not existence, should be excluded, but this is not matching the perception, and this is understood on our side.
Yeah, and for this service, the backup success rate, the measurement is quite complex as well, so that needs to be appreciated as well. feedback to this audience.
Okay. Anything else that we need to discuss now, or shall we take it out in the separate discussions?
But two steps. The one is, of course, that we have the clarity that after this meeting you have your internal DXC alignment, but you will come back with an updated version of the service level review presentation. Where
Yes, this will be done as the result will be shared as well, following what we have discussed now. This will be the final presentation. This will represent the final view. Reports will be aligned to mini per SharePoint, and this is how we would usually do as per our process. So, yeah, everything will be done and fitting your expectations for sure.
Is there any other slide on this service, or
for this one specifically, it's just the explanation on what we have had a discussion for the exclusions, but I believe we don't need to go into further detail here unless you have any other comments.
Okay, so then thanks.
Okay, so if that's it, thank you very much for attending today's meeting and for this